This is Chapter by Chapter Classics, the short-form classic literature podcast where each episode walks you through a few chapters of a great book. Previously in Pride and Prejudice, Elizabeth's visit to Pemberley revealed a kinder, more generous Darcy. But news of Lydia's elopement with Wickham shattered the hopeful mood and plunged the Bennets into crisis. In this episode, we're covering chapters 50 through 58, where the scandal is managed behind the scenes, Bingley returns to Jane, and Lady Catherine arrives to try, and fail, to scare Elizabeth away from Darcy.
Welcome back to the deep dive. So we've arrived at the final, just tumultuous chapters of Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. We're talking 50 through 58.
Yeah, this is where it all comes to a head.
We're here to watch a complete societal catastrophe turn into, well, a secret triumph. It's all about reputation, redemption, and how pride finally finds its balance.
Exactly. These chapters are where all the misunderstandings and the social pressure, everything the novel's been building, it all gives way to the hard truth. You know, since Lydia and Wickham eloped, the Bennet family has been on the edge of a cliff. So these chapters answer the big questions. Who saved them? And what secret sacrifices had to be made?
Our mission today is to track that resolution, the whole chaotic mess of it, and uncover the real hero, the very costly savior of the Bennet name.
And then the big one?
And then the big one. Elizabeth Bennet's epic confrontation with, the ultimate social gatekeeper, a showdown that, so ironically, becomes the key to her own happiness. So let's unpack the high cost of reputation in Regency England.
Okay, so the tension breaks almost immediately with a letter from Mr. Gardiner. It arrives at Longbourn, and it's just a flood of relief.
Right.
Lydia and Wickham have been found. They're not married yet, but this is the critical part. The marriage is going to happen. The family is pulled back from the brink of total disgrace.
But the conditions, they're immediately a little suspicious, aren't they? Mr. Gardiner details what Mr. Bennet has to do.
Yeah, he has to formally promise Lydia her equal share of the £5,000 family inheritance when her parents die.
And £100 a year allowance right away.
Right. And we should probably stop and just, contextualize that money for a second. That £5,000 sounds huge, but it's the capital that the entire family lives on the interest of.
So assuring Lydia's share is just basic fatherly duty.
Exactly. The £100 a year, though, that's what they'll actually live on. But the letter implies that Mr. Gardiner is covering everything else.
Everything else. And that is a huge sum. We're talking about settling Wickham's truly ruinous debts, buying him a new commission in the army. I mean, it's way more than £1,000.
Oh, way more. For a man like Mr. Gardiner, who isn't super wealthy, this is a cripplingly generous act.
And the reaction at Longbourn just perfectly captures the whole family.
It really does.
Mr. Bennet is just relieved they aren't totally disgraced. But Mrs. Bennet...
Oh, Mrs. Bennet is deliriously happy. She completely skips over the shame, the financial danger, all of it.
Jumps straight to Mrs. Wickham.
Straight to it. She's demanding new wedding clothes. For her, the superficial win of a married daughter just erases everything else.
It's so her. But Elizabeth, she's the one paying attention. She's looking at the supposed debt to her uncle and starts grappling with this really uncomfortable thought.
And what's that?
That the proud, difficult man she rejected, Mr. Darcy, might actually be the most generous and honorable man she's ever known.
And that's the perfect setup for the massive reveal we get in Chapter 52.
The truth bomb. It comes in a long, detailed letter from Mrs. Gardiner, and what Elizabeth reads it changes everything.
The colossal debt to save Lydia's reputation. It's not owed to their uncle at all.
Not at all. It's owed entirely to Mr. Darcy.
This is the moment where Darcy uses his wealth not as a flex, not as a display of arrogance, but as a tool for this profound, secret moral correction.
And what's so fascinating is that he did the dirty work himself. He didn't just send an agent. He left Derbyshire, went to London, and tracked them down.
He did. He found them through a Mrs. Young, who was, Miss Darcy's disgraced former governess.
He's basically a private investigator at this point. And the negotiation with Wickham sounds like it was just awful.
Oh, a nightmare. Wickham had zero intention of marrying Lydia. He was about to ditch the army because of his massive debts. Darcy had to pay off every single one.
Buy him a new commission up north and settle another £1,000 on Lydia herself.
All as the price for getting him to marry her. This is way beyond charity. It's a huge social and financial sacrifice. And then he argues with Mr. Gardiner, insisting that his name be kept out of it completely.
Okay, but this is where my critical antenna goes up a bit. If you wanted total anonymity, why involve Mr. Gardiner at all? Why not just use his own lawyer?
That's a great question.
I mean, was it 100% selfless, or did he need just one person, one witness, to know what he'd done?
Well, the sources tell us his motive for secrecy was actually rooted in guilt. He confesses to Mr. Gardiner that he felt the entire disaster was his fault.
His fault? How?
He said his own pride, his refusal to publicly expose Wickham's character years ago, is what left an innocent girl like Lydia vulnerable in the first place.
So he's literally using his money to pay off a moral debt created by his own pride?
Exactly. The money's the tool, but the act itself is one of true humility, and this knowledge just completely flips Elizabeth's opinion of him.
Of course it does. She realizes this wasn't just a kind gesture. It was a massive sacrifice made to correct a personal failure. And, well, it must have been driven by feelings for her. The cost was just too great for it to be anything else.
Absolutely. He's actively undoing his own pride to secure the happiness of the woman he loves. It proves that his first arrogant proposal is truly a thing of the past.
So, with the shadow of disgrace lifted, the spotlight can finally shift back to Jane.
And the return of Mr. Bingley. It feels like a sudden burst of sunlight after a storm. Bingley and Darcy show up at Netherfield, and Mrs. Bennet's welcome is just painfully unbalanced.
Oh, it's so cringeworthy. She's practically falling over herself to welcome Bingley, Jane's rich future husband.
But to Darcy, the man who actually saved her entire family.
She's stiff, formal, cold. She still hates the sight of him. And Elizabeth is just watching this, knowing everything, and it must be agony.
It is. But Bingley doesn't notice. He only has eyes for Jane. His feelings are instantly rekindled, and finally the proposal happens.
And she says yes.
Of course. And Jane finally learns why he left all those months ago. He genuinely thought she didn't care for him. She now understands it was all engineered by his sisters.
And Darcy. Though she doesn't know that part yet.
Not yet. And then we get one of my favorite Mr. Bennet moments. Jane tells him the news, and he gives her this classic mix of love and pure sarcasm.
He tells her they'll be happy because they're both too nice to ever disagree on anything.
Which, he warns, will lead to them being cheated by their servants and spending way too much money.
It's his strange, satirical way of giving his blessing. It's wonderful.
It is. But just as things seem to be settling down, just as Elizabeth is at peace, she faces her final, massive hurdle.
Lady Catherine de Bourgh.
The social bomb. She drops in without any warning. An uninvited evening visit to Longbourn.
The scene is just pure drama. She demands to speak with Elizabeth alone, outside in the pretty-ish little wilderness.
And she gets straight to the point. A rumor has reached her. A terrifying rumor that Elizabeth is going to marry her nephew, Mr. Darcy.
She is furious. She calls it a scandalous falsehood. She insists that Darcy is already engaged to her own daughter.
Which he isn't, not formally. It's just a family wish.
Right. And she demands that Elizabeth promise right then and there never to enter into an engagement with Darcy.
Her whole argument is based on class. She says a connection with the Bennets would be a social disgrace, especially after the Lydia business. She's trying to bully Elizabeth with her rank.
And this is Elizabeth's shining moment. She does not back down.
Not an inch.
She refuses to be intimidated. She won't make any promises. She asserts her right to act in a way that makes her happy, and she calls Lady Catherine's arguments frivolous.
It's spectacular, but it comes at a high emotional cost. Afterwards, Elizabeth is just consumed with worry.
She's convinced Lady Catherine will go straight to Darcy and poison him against her, play on his pride about her family's low connections. She's terrified she'll never see him again.
And that fear shows you just how completely her feelings have changed. She doesn't just respect him now, she wants him.
Which takes us right to chapter 58, the emotional payoff. Darcy comes back to Longbourn. He seeks her out.
And his explanation for why he came back is the ultimate twist. It's the perfect subversion of what Lady Catherine intended.
It really is. He explains that his aunt came to him, furious, and told him the entire story of their confrontation, expecting it to turn him against Elizabeth forever.
But it had the exact opposite effect.
Brilliantly backfired. Darcy realized that Elizabeth's refusal to promise never to marry him, even under all that pressure,
it meant he still had a chance. Her defiance was proof that she wasn't completely decided against him. It showed him she valued her own happiness above any social pressure.
It confirmed she was his equal.
Exactly.
And then the reconciliation is just beautiful. He renews his proposal, and Elizabeth joyfully accepts, apologizing for her harsh words at Rosings, which she now learns have tortured him for months.
And in that moment, she has to ask about Lydia, about his real motivation. And he says, so characteristically, Darcy, that he wouldn't deny that the wish to make her happy played a role. But he insists the family owes him nothing. He did it all, he says, thinking only of her.
It's the ultimate love confession, but it's disguised as like a financial report.
It is. These chapters prove that the family scandal, which should have ruined Elizabeth's chances, actually gave Darcy the one opportunity he needed to show true humility and sacrifice.
It forced him to confront his own pride, which gave Elizabeth a second chance to see who he really was.
And her integrity, her standing up to Lady Catherine, was the final piece of the puzzle for him. It confirmed she was the only woman worthy of him, someone who could stand up for him.
So if you connect all the threads, the scandal, the secret payment, the proposal, it all really hinges on him admitting he was wrong.
It does. Darcy's wealth was what let him fix the crisis, but his greatest strength in winning Elizabeth wasn't the money.
It was his willingness to admit that his own vice, his prideful refusal to expose Wickham years before, was the real root cause of the whole mess. That's the turning point.
His money saved their reputation, but his vulnerability, his admitted fault, is what secured her heart.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you to mull over. In life and in literature, when you're looking for real trust, for a true connection, what matters more? Is it the grand, expensive gesture that's designed to impress everyone?
Or is it the difficult, quiet, private admission of a profound personal fault? Something to think about.
That's it for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.
That's chapters 50 through 58. Lydia and Wickham married with Darcy's secret help, Jane and Bingley finally engaged, and Lady Catherine's fury accidentally clearing the way for Elizabeth's hopes. In our next episode, we'll finish the novel with chapters 59 through 61, where final proposals are made, families react, and Austen shows us who has truly learned from their pride and prejudice, and who hasn't.